Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. In today's tutorial, we're going to learn how to make a mesh top. So first, you're going to get your mesh fabric. This is what I'm going to be using for the tutorial today. After you've gotten your mesh fabric, this is the facing and everything. I've already cut the fabric out, and then I'm going to explain how you can cut yours as well. So first, you're going to get your fabric, you're going to fold it based on your biggest measurement, which is your hip, and then you're going to measure the neckline. You just need it to be straight. You measure your bust line, half length, blouse length, and then you're going to add like extra 5 inches or 7 inches for the slanting down. You measure your bust measurements on your bust line, your waist on your half length, and your hip on your blouse length. After you've done that, you're going to cut it off. The neckline is still going to be straight since the material stretches. So this is for the front, while the part that is straight is for the back. Now that we've gotten this, next you're going to cut the sleeve out. The sleeve, you're going to cut the sleeve based on your bust line. The bust line of my client is 8 inches, but I'm going to be using 10. I'm just adding extra, and then you are going to cut it based on this shape. When you get to the sleeve length, you're going to take in 5 inches, and from there is where you're going to create this kind of trumpet looking shape. But note, when you're cutting the mesh fabric, please do not add extra allowance. I added allowance, so mine is bigger. You're going to test the fabric if the fabric actually works on your machine, and which is what I'm doing right here, and it works. If it doesn't, in some cases you can actually use paper to sew with it on the machine. The first thing I'm going to be stitching is the facing. So after sewing the front piece facing, I'm sewing the back piece of the facing. Please, while sewing, do well to stretch the fabric, not like pull it so much, but just like stretch it a little bit, so that when you put it on, you don't start hearing these like thread snapping, the clothes is losing. Just do well when you're sewing, do well to stretch it so that you don't have such cases. This is how it turned out after placing the facing. So now that we've arranged it this way, we're going to place the other part on it, and we're going to measure 2.5 inch on the shoulder part, since the neck is going to be straight. So measure 2.5 here on the right side, and also measure 2.5 on the other side as well. Now we're going to be sewing the sleeve. Since the sleeve is the exact measurement of the client, I'm just going to put 2 of them together, and then I'm just going to stitch both of them. After stitching the sleeve, we're going to turn it out to the right side, and then we're going to bring back the main part of the body and we're going to take shape. Taking shape means we're going to measure the bust on the bust line divided by 2 inches. We're going to share the inches on equally on both sides, on the left side and on the right side. We're going to do the same thing for the waist divided by 2. The remaining allowance, if it's 3, you share it into 2, which is 1.5 on this side and 1.5 on the other side. Same thing for the hip line. And remember that for the mesh top style, there was actually like little pleats on the waistline, which is what I'm trying to achieve here by doing these little gathers with my hand on both sides. At this point, I'm attaching the sleeve to the bust line on the right arm and on the left arm. Please ensure to pull while stitching. It's very important on all parts of sewing the mesh fabric, but it's also very important when you're attaching the sleeve to the bodies. After stitching, I'm going to take it out for weaving, and here's our mesh top. Thank you so much for watching. I hope this video was helpful and I will see you in the next video. Bye.